In one of my most recent videos, I went ahead and made a couple bench dogs that are right there. Now, if you see, that piece of pine is butted up against there because I have no tail vise. Well, that is not a problem because I figured out how to use both the bench dogs that I made and almost be able to pretty much clamp the workpiece to the table, and I will show you how right now. That end of this board is already butted up against that bench dog. Now, if you can tell, I take this bench dog and I can throw it in here and it leaves a little bit of gap in here, or I can spin the end one down and there's no gap with how I've made these offset. Spin that around and you got another gap. Now, the way to make this so that it pretty much can clamp in any board is by taking your bench dogs and arranging them in a position that leaves you a decent little gap in there. Now, what I've done is I went ahead and made a wedge. This is just out of plywood. You can make one out of hardwood probably and it'll last longer. This one's already starting to chip up on the edge. This piece right here is only roughly about an inch. The wedge is 4.5 inches from this point to that point, and then this little flat end is about an inch as well. Overall backside is 2 inches. And what will happen is you actually take it, make sure that your piece of wood almost lines up with the dowel pin that you have. You can take the wedge and push it in there. Now, what happens is, obviously by the name of it, is it wedges everything together. You just take your mallet and it's in there. I mean, that's not going anywhere. So now you've got your piece securely in. All you have is a 3/4 inch. You can even make this a 1/2 inch piece as well. Your bench dog is only 1/2 inch. So after you've gotten everything all made and created and you've gotten everything all wedged in, now it's time to actually use it. You can do everything with it. Like if you had a tail vise, you can go ahead and use hand planes on it to flatten out boards, or you can use molding planes with it. But there's one disadvantage with the setup here. If your wedge does not go all the way in, your molding planes will hit the wedge and it interferes with everything. So that is one of the disadvantages with this setup. A way to get around with that, if you already have your dog holes in, is just get rid of the wedge system. You can take your bench dog and put it at the top of your bench area and just go ahead and use a Holdfast. I made my own, and you can just go ahead and hammer that down, make sure that's tight, and that's not going anywhere because this front one can rotate, so it'll actually wedge itself in up against everything. Now you can use your molding planes on this, getting a knot, and there's no problems unless you have a knot. Now that I've showed you 2 different ways to get around not having a tail vise, I hope you guys start thinking outside the box, using the wedge system to hold everything in place when you're doing your long grain and cross grain planing. If you go to have to start doing some molding planes and stuff, you know, grab a Holdfast. You know, I made mine. This was my first one. I sell them. They work great. It's a great addition to a workbench. So go ahead and get you a Holdfast if you do a lot of hand tool work. If you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and share it around to all your social networks. Visit me over on Facebook and on Twitter, and stop by my website, chit chat with me. I respond back. I try to talk to everybody that tries to talk to me. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, keep on woodworking.